Hello, I'm Chad with Sun Pumps. Today we're going to be talking about our CMMP controller, which we use with our HS and HR line of pumps. We're going to talk about a few of the errors and a few ways to change the parameters within the controller. One of the most frequent questions that we get is how to adjust the flow on an HR or an HS pump. We'll start off by adjusting the minimum frequency on the pump. You need to make sure that your controller says inverter off and motor off and status normal. And so what we'll do is we'll push the up button until we come to menu. Once you get to menu, you're going to push the enter button. And we're going to go into install parameters for this one. Under install parameters, the password is going to be 001. So by pressing the enter button, it'll take your cursor over to the last 0, and you're going to push the up button, 001, and then you'll press enter again. From there, you want to go down to minimum frequency. And so you may have to push this button a few times until you get there. Frequency minimum control is what we're looking for. And default setting from the factory is set at 80. We're going to want to hit our enter button to take the cursor down to the number where we can adjust it, and we'll adjust it down. And you can just hold it to go down. And so what we'll do is we'll take it to 30. And then you'll press enter. And then you'll exit by hitting the red button. And that'll take you back out to the menu button. Now, to actually adjust the flow, we'll have to go in and adjust the maximum frequency, which will be in advanced parameters. So under menu, you're going to hit the down button, and that'll take you to advanced parameters. You'll hit your enter button. Password in advanced parameters is going to be 002. So you hit your enter button twice to take the cursor button over. Push the up button to 2 and press enter. From there, you're going to go down to max frequency. So we got max motor frequency. You'll hit the enter button, and we'll just take it down. And this one you may have to play with depending on your application. And so this one we can take down as low as 30 because we set our lower frequency at 30. So this one we will set at 80. And this will cap the upper frequency threshold at 80 Hertz. Hit your enter button, and then to exit out, you'll hit your red button, hit it one more time, and here we're at the main screen. Now we can press the on button and start our pump up. And you can see the hertz climbing here, and it will max out at 80 Hertz, effectively lowering the flow on our pump. If it's still pumping too much, you can go back in, do the same process on the maximum frequency, and lower the flow on your pump even more. We'll be moving on to another question that we get about the controller, and that's how to change our normally open to normally closed parameter. If you've got a pressure switch, it may require a normally closed parameter. The controller comes default set to normally open. So what we'll do is we'll hit our up button until we get to menu. Once you get to menu, you're going to hit enter, and we're going to go into install parameters. So you'll press enter when you hit install parameters. Password on this is also going to be 001. And you'll push enter. And then we'll go down to the digital input. Now, the one thing that you have to watch for is there are 4 digital inputs in this controller. You want to make sure that you come to the digital input that you have your float switch hooked into. So here we have digital input number 1. You can see that it's set to normally open. To change it, you would hit enter. That'll take your cursor down to the normally open, and you just push the up button, and now you can see it's got NC for normally closed. After that, all you would do is hit your enter button to save it, and then you're going to hit the red button to exit back out. That will effectively change your float switch parameter from normally open to normally closed on the digital input number 1. It will not change 2, 3, or 4. You'll have to separately go in and change those if you also need those changed. When you get your controller from the company, there's going to be an auto restart parameter that will be set to on. This means if you turn off your controller in the afternoon and leave it, the next morning it will automatically wake up and restart the controller. If you want that auto restart to be different, when you turn it off, it stays off, you'll need to go in and change the parameter on it. This is going to be under advanced parameters, and so you'll hit the up button until menu. Once you get to menu, you're going to hit your enter button, and it's going to be under advanced parameters. And once you get to advanced parameters, you'll hit enter. Password will be 002, so you hit the enter button to take your cursor over. Use the up button to get to 2. Press enter, and then you're going to go down to the auto restart. And you can see here under auto restart, it's set to on. You'll hit the enter button to take your cursor down and use the up button to change it to off. That will effectively turn off the auto restart. That means that when you push the red button, the pump will not turn on until you come and push the green button again. It won't wake up in the morning once you set this to off. And if that's how you want to do it, you'll hit your enter button to save it, and then you use the red button to exit back out to the main menu. There's a feature inside this controller that can be helpful. Once you're at inverter off and motor off and it says status normal, you can hit the enter button. What this is going to show, it's going to show the life of your inverter and how long the pump is run. So that can be helpful in seeing how many hours you have on your pump. One feature that our HR and HS pumps have are low water shutoffs. There is a sensor located on the cable above the pump, and it will show in the controller when the pump goes into a low water condition. We'll ramp the pump up and get it started. You can see the hertz climbing. And what we'll do is we'll simulate a low water shutoff. And you can see here that the controller is blinking no water. When you see that, there's the connection between the low water sensor and the pump has been broken with either no water or the sensor has been taped. As you're making changes in the controller, you may find it necessary to do a factory reset to get everything back to the defaults that the factory sends out. To do this, you're going to make sure that your controller says inverter off, motor off here at the top. And then you're going to disconnect the pump signal wires. Those are the two wires coming from the pump, the red and the white. You'll disconnect those from the controller. And then you're going to hold the red button, the green button, and the enter button. That's going to be the arrow, the button with the crooked arrow. You're going to hold those down, and then you're going to disconnect your power. It may be advantageous to have a shut-off switch or a box in between your solar and your controller. That way you don't have to physically disconnect them from the controller. And all this has to be done while holding these 3 buttons down. You're going to hold those down for 10 to 15 seconds after you have disconnected the power. Then you're going to reconnect power and continue holding until you hear a beep inside the controller. After that, continue to hold for another 10 to 15 seconds, let it off, and then you'll reconnect your pump signal wires. That will do a factory reset on your controller. Another error that we see on the controller that we get lots of phone calls on is problems with your pump signal wire. And if your controller is hooked up correctly with the pump signal wires, you're going to see the inverter off and motor off. If you're having a problem with your pump signal wires, one of the errors that you're going to see is going to be an LCD. So here you can see that it's showing no communication with inverter. I've got my pump wires disconnected from the communication terminal inside the controller. Another one that we'll often see is going to be when you first hook it up and your pump wires are backwards. If the communication wires are not connected correctly, you're going to see an LCD on the display. This will most likely never change until you get the pump signal wires correct. If they are reversed in polarity, that could cause that, or if they're not making a good connection, that will also cause this LCD error inside the controller. First thing to do would be flip-flop your pump signal wires inside the controller. If that does not work, you'll need to check the connections down at the pump. Thank you for watching today's video on the CMMP controller. If you have any questions on the CMMP controller or any other lines of pumps or controllers, please call Sun Pumps and we'll be happy to help you with your questions.